What is going on, guys? A tough old start to this week. Not always the way you want to be introducing these videos, but you know, it is what it is. I can't remember whether I mentioned in the end of last week's video that Louis was feeling a little bit unwell, snotty nose, starting to get a bit of a cough, teeth coming through, the works, and that certainly hasn't got any better. So to add to that, Lara was away, or is away, because it is currently Thursday when I am recording this section of the video. Lara gets back late this evening, haven't been away since Tuesday morning, and yeah, Louis just sort of got progressively worse, bless him, since Lara went away. So he started to get that sort of runny nose and stuff. It was probably towards the end of last week, to be fair, but he didn't seem too bad over the weekend, and then yeah, it's just got a little bit worse again as the week developed. And so yesterday, Wednesday, I had to go and pick him up from the childminders. He had a temperature, quite high temperature, like 39.5. Was like rubbing his ears and stuff, and just generally not really feeling great at all. Took him to the paediatrician, and he's got pharyngitis and possibly a little ear infection as well. So had to get him some antibiotics and a bit more, it's called Doliprane here. It's like Calpol for those of you that are in the UK. It's just like paracetamol stuff, just to sort of ease the temperature, bring a bit of pain relief. But it's also meant that, like, in the night, again, ordinarily we're very, very fortunate that actually on an ordinary basis he's a really, really good sleeper through the night. Like, he'll go down at about like 7:30 in the evening, and pretty much without fail he'll sleep through until 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. But bless him, he woke up at about midnight, 12:30 on Tuesday night, so the first night that Lara was away. Woke up about 12:30, just crying, in pain, felt absolutely roasted hot. I sort of soothed him a little bit, managed to get him to go back to sleep in his own bed, and like 5 minutes later, same again, and I tried one more time and ended up just bringing him into my bed, which we're trying not to do, just to not get into that habit, because we spent like the first 5 months of him being alive with him in our bed, and ever since then he's been really, really good in his own bed. But you know, he just needed that comfort and that closeness. So he then slept more so in with me from about 1 o'clock in the morning. He got a little bit of sleep. I didn't really, because he just wanted to be like nuzzled right into me. He's very shuffly, he's quite noisy, but bless him, I just wanted him to get a bit more sleep, so I just sucked it up and tried to get little 10-15 minute bits here and there. And then Wednesday, yeah, got the call from the childminder that he'd got temperature again, and took him in, got the diagnosis, picked up the meds. So I took the sort of afternoon off work yesterday just to, you know, to do that with him and look after him and make sure he was okay. And then last night, thought it was going to be a bit better, but 2 o'clock in the morning, same thing happened again. So I ended up bringing him into my bed at about 2 o'clock in the morning. And yeah, he just needed that comfort. Similar sort of thing, you know, he wasn't feeling great, and he managed to get a little bit more sleep again, but I struggled. So I've had a couple of nights where I reckon over the course of Tuesday and Wednesday night I've probably had a combined total of 7 or 8 hours sleep. So I am feeling pretty tired. Dropped him off at the childminders this morning, having sort of given him his doses of meds, so fingers crossed he's going to get on okay. He was absolutely exhausted, bless him, so hopefully he'll get a good sleep this morning, and she'll then give him his midday meds. Fingers crossed he's going to eat a little bit more today as well, because he's not really been into food for the past few days, but you know, to be expected. Like, no one has a massive appetite when they're not feeling well, do they? So but all that said, I've just actually had a good gym session, and I wasn't expecting great things from it at all, because I just woke up feeling absolutely exhausted myself, because really I've just done with not really doing a huge amount. But I thought, no, you know what, let's go. Even if I just, you know, move a little bit of weight around, don't go too heavy, just get my body moving. But as soon as I started, I just felt quite strong, so pushed. I managed to hit a few PBs, managed to match a few numbers, So actually quite a good session. Just on my way back now, so I'll get all sorted. I've then got plenty of work to be getting on with. As I say, I didn't really get a huge chance to do much yesterday afternoon because I had to go and pick Louis up and then make sure that he was okay. I did a little bit of work once he'd gone to bed, by which time I was absolutely shattered still. So Lara gets back later tonight. Depending on how that goes, she might just see Louis before he goes down to bed, but otherwise he'll be in bed. Hopefully he'll sleep through, and then we'll both see him tomorrow morning. But yeah, I'll give you another little update as the week progresses. But for the time being, poor little kid, not feeling good at all, and he's just very out of sorts. He's just not really his usual, like, bounding around, loving life self, and you know that something's not quite right when that's the case. So yeah, we're just hoping he's going to feel much better very, very soon. But watch this space, and I will be back in the near future. What is good, people? I hope you have had a fantastic weekend, and this week has started well too. I think there's already going to have been an initial part of this video, so this will probably be part 2. Just getting ready to send my check-in over to Christian tomorrow. We're up about £0.5, 0.6 of a pound again this week, so been moving things quite nicely since since we started this phase of growth. Let me just quickly double check. Actually, I meant to have a look at this before I jumped on the video. Let me just have a little look at the weight gain since we began the little bit of a push-up. So push-up begins. So we were 161-ish when we began this about 15 weeks ago, and I'm up to about 171. So in the space of 14-15 weeks, about 10 pounds up, which is a pretty decent rate of gain. Like initially, you always tend to see a little bit of a bigger jump, just where the body's getting a bit fuller, water glycogen's going in, then it steadies and stables a bit. Steadies and stables. Yeah, that is the right phrase. And then it's been going up fairly nicely at, a sort of 0.5, 0.6 pound a week for the past few weeks, which is good. Like everything else is going pretty well. I know I mentioned obviously in the first part of this video, it's been a fairly tough and challenging week. Louis is feeling a lot better, thankfully. I think it was pharyngitis that he picked up. He has had, we weren't really sure, that side of things seemed to settle down. Like he's sleeping a lot better. He's still not got the biggest appetite in the world, and he started to get a bit of a rash, which we weren't sure if it was some sort of reaction to the medication. Or whether it's something else. And I don't think anyone's still 100% sure what it is, because that's just how it is. He's not like itching and scratching, and he hasn't got a fever. So I don't think the rash is anything too serious. It's probably a little bit uncomfortable for him, and it's obviously just impacting his ability to just really settle himself down. And also in terms of, like I say, his appetite and stuff isn't massive at the moment. We think he might still have a little bit of a sore throat too, because food-wise, he's not really wanting much sort of more solid food. He's wanting things that are a lot softer. So almost going back to like yogurts, purees, that kind of stuff. Whereas we had started to move more off those and onto more like solid foods. He's also got teeth and stuff coming through again. So you just never quite know. Poor kid's had a bit of a rough sort of 7 to 10 days, but fingers crossed, these next few days are going to see him much better, because that's what we all want, right? And we're also off on a little bit of a break. On Monday, we're off to Center Parcs, so for 4 nights, 5 days. So we're just hoping that everyone's going to be okay. Also hoping that Lara and I don't pick anything up, because that would be a bit of a disaster too. But yeah, I'll obviously be back again tomorrow with the second part. You'll get the pictures and stuff then too. But again, as always, because I like to preempt these things, I very much doubt there's going to be any changes. Oh, the one thing actually that I am going to try, and I'm just going to see how it goes, because it's been a while. I'm going to try going back to 5 days a week in the gym. So I haven't actually trained 5 days a week now for probably getting on for 18 months. Louis 14 and a half, 15 months old now, and even like a month or two before he was born, I dropped down to 4 days, just because I knew once he was here. Initially, it was all going to be a bit manic while we were finding some sort of rhythm and routine. So I dropped down to 4 days a week. I'm going to try 5 days a week. So I'll probably trial it this week, because then next week I'm taking a deload while we're away. And then, yeah, just sort of seeing how it goes. Just trying to fit those things in. It's something that I think I want to try it. Like, I'm not saying it's going to completely work. I'm not saying that I won't end up just being a little bit more stressed by having to try and fit that extra session in. But if I can, and if I can make it work, yeah, it's just an opportunity to add a little bit more volume into stuff. And you know, I do love being in the gym. So we shall see. But I'll keep you posted, as always, on that. So the new split is likely to be push, pull, legs, delts and arms, back and hamstrings, because I also want to give my back a bit more work. I think, yeah, almost everyone could do with more back. And since I went to the 4-day split with the push, pull, legs, delts and arms, I do feel like my delts and arms have made a lot more progress. And so if we can add in some additional back work and some additional hamstring work, just try to bring up that whole posterior, I think that's going to be a positive step as well. So as I say, I'll keep you posted, as I always do. Obviously, the progress pictures are going to happen every week, so we can have a nice little comparison. Fingers crossed, we're going to see some progress with that new split. But yeah, I'll be back again tomorrow with a little bit of an update once Christian's replied. What is good, people? Hopefully you can hear me okay. Just out for a bit of a walk while it's reasonably nice outside. You can see quite a lot of blue sky around me, a few little clouds, and typically the sun has gone in behind one of those just as I've left the house, but hopefully it'll come out again soon. Hope everyone's good. So the check-in reply has been received, the updated split has been sent, and I'm looking forward to it. So general feedback from the check-in reply, as expected, no changes to be made. It's been one of those weeks. I think I have mentioned it enough in the previous sections of this video. Yeah, one of those. Louis not well, Lara away, life generally a bit manic, but reasonably happy with where we're at, as you know, all things considered. And you know, going away next week, we know the deload's going to happen. So this week, first week where I'm trialing the 5 days, then a bit of a deload, and then really sort of cracking on with that 5-day-a-week split when we get back. So we are going for push, pull, quad focus legs, delts and arms, back and hamstrings. So I think I'd mentioned before, and you know, I'll post the pictures up as well, back is an area that I do want to bring up. I think back, for the majority of people, to be honest, is a relative weak point. Just I think there's something about not being able to see it, maybe not being able to see it when you train and stuff, like whether that leads sometimes to that lack of connection. I also think there's just a general bit of stigma, particularly for guys. You know, we want the chest, the shoulders, the arms, like we want those t-shirt muscles to pop, and so back sometimes don't get enough focus. But I think from the front I look reasonably good. The back is where the work needs to be done, so we're bringing in some extra back volume, a whole posterior really. So as I say, back and hamstrings getting a bit of extra work on their own day, which will be good. So looking forward to seeing how that's going to go for the rest of this year, and then obviously we'll see what the plans are going to be moving forwards. But to be honest, the initial thing is just going to be about whether that 5-day-a-week is going to work for me long term. I am very much hoping it is, and I'm going to do everything possible to make it work. But I also know that I'm busy. I also know there's a lot going on in life, and so we'll just keep an eye on things. You know, I don't want it to add loads and loads of stress to what is already a stressful situation. Trying to cross the road here without getting run over. So yeah, I don't want it to add massive amounts of stress. I want it to work. I want it to be in a position where it makes me feel good, timing, etc, etc. So watch this space. But yeah, all in all, positive feedback from the check-in. What I will do over the coming weeks is probably just take you through those sessions again. There's been a few little tweaks and changes, obviously some brand new ones in there as well. So as I go through them, I'll get stuff filmed, recorded, and I'll take you along for the ride. But for this one, I'm going to enjoy the rest of this walk. Have an absolutely amazing rest of your week. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll be back soon.